What's going on, everybody? You're about to watch my final round of my first MPO tournament, the NADGT Tour Finale. I didn't record a video before this round, but I just wanted to get on here and say a couple things first. I want to thank you all for the support on the first 3 rounds of this tournament. If you haven't watched those yet, go check them out first. And currently I'm sitting tied second to last, so my only goal today is not to finish last. The conditions are going to be terrible, super windy, a lot of rain, so it's going to be tough to shoot a good round out there. But I've already played it, so spoiler alert, it's pretty good.
And teeing off third from Conway, Arkansas, Kyle Eberdt.
Alright, let's get this final round started. I'm wearing my lucky OTV shirt. Had a great round with it on first round, so hopefully it brings me good luck today. Hole 1's 360 feet, so I decided to go distance driver, try to get a low skipping backhand. Get it way too high though, and I end up about 50 or 60 feet to the left.
You guys have fun out there. Thank you.
I give it a good run and almost make the putt, but this is just my tap in for the par. Can't be mad starting off with a par, but moving on to hole 2, we need to get the birdie here. It's a 580 foot par 4. I'm sticking with my strike play. It's been working out for me, but today I'm a little heavy with the hyzer and I skip it off to the left. If you're left, you're behind that one lone tree, but luckily I went so far left that I have an opening, and it should be no problem to get up and down. Just a routine forehand with my pyro, get that nice skip towards the basket, and I absolutely park it. Starting off 1 down through 2, just where I want to be. Now moving on to hole 3, I missed this gap yesterday throwing a backhand, so I decided to go forehand flex with a zone. I hadn't practiced this shot, and I just put a little bit too much anhyzer on it. Luckily, we get far enough down there, though, so I do have this easy jump putt approach to save my par. And for some reason, I just baby that. I don't commit to the layup at all. And we still have a tester for my first putt of the day. And I just pull it to the right. The rain's starting. Not a good way to finish the first 3 holes. We're even now. But hey, if we can just stay even for the rest of the round, I'll be happy. Hole 4 is one that I'd love to bounce back and get the birdie on. I didn't get it the first 3 rounds, so this is my chance. And I slip on the tee pad and causes me to have a really bad release. The basket is 600 feet off to the right, so I'm not in a good position. This is why I don't like turf tee pads. So now you can see the basket straight ahead. I'm about 360 feet away. And oops, almost fell down again, stepped on a branch. Gotta recompose and throw this shot now. I'm grabbing my Emperor, and I'm trying to just do a hyzer into the green. And whoa! I almost skipped it in. I went in between the basket and the tree right in front of it. But unfortunately, we skip off into circle 2, and there's a lot of wind out there today too. Just low, but I felt really good about that putt. And so we're even through 4. Not where I'd like to be, but not terrible either. One of my card mates showed me a new line on this hole going wide hyzer around the tree. I had been going up the middle, but I decided this might be better for me. I'm able to put a lot more power on it, and I get a good skip up towards the basket. And I'm only about 45 feet away for the birdie. We just had this putt on the last hole, so let's see if we can capitalize this time. And again, felt really good, but just barely low. It's so hard to putt in the wind. But hey, at least the putts are coming out clean today. And moving on to hole 6, I don't want any part of the out of bounds on the left side today, so I decide to throw my hex. Unfortunately, I give it a little bit of hyzer, and that's enough for the wind to get under it. We have a right to left wind, and it just pushes it straight out of bounds again. So I'm right where I was yesterday, but I see a forehand gap that I didn't see before, throwing it across the out of bounds, hoping my Draco skips back in bounds, and it does. So now we're way farther up the fairway than I would have been, and we have an easy approach to get my bogey here. It's so unfortunate because in practice I was able to get the birdie pretty easily, but during the tournament I had 3 bogeys and 1 par. And speaking of holes that I'm underperforming on, hole 7, a 630 foot par 4, one of the most scoreable holes out here, and I've gotten the par on it the first 3 days, so I really want to get the birdie here. And I throw a good drive up the middle. Unfortunately, we get a skip when I don't want it to. A big skip, mind you. And I'm in the palmettos on the left, so I have to do this awkward standout forehand. And yeah, I don't throw it well, to say the least. And I'm back in the stuff on the left. Throwing my zone this time, trying to get it close to the basket. but there is an OB pond behind the basket that I got really close to. I was within just a couple feet, but now we have this putt for the par. Cash that one in, and besides the putt on hole 3, all my putts have been coming out really smooth. But now we're moving into the most difficult stretch of holes on this course, 8, 9, and 10. Hole 8's a par 4, 780 feet. We've got OB left and right side, so I'm just throwing this spike hyzer with my Emperor to try to land it in the middle. Yes. The wind gets under it, and it almost pushes it to the OB on the left side. Luckily, we stay safe. Now I'm throwing another hyzer with an Emperor, just trying to get it higher than I did yesterday to make sure I get it back left inbounds. This wind is crazy though, and it tries to push it left out of bounds. We get lucky again, and it stops before the OB. So now we have a chance to take my first par on this hole. I've gone bogey, double bogey, bogey, and in the worst conditions yet, I take my first par on hole 8. I'm telling you guys, this 10-footer was super nervy with 25-mile-an-hour winds. But now I feel great heading into hole 9. It's probably the hardest hole on this course, well over 800 feet, only a par 4. So it takes 2 giant shots to get there. I'm just trying to get it inbounds left of this cart path, throwing my Emperor and hoping I get a big skip to the left, which we do. And I'm in a great spot. I can go right up the middle through those trees and lay up for my par. Another Emperor shot, a lot of hyzer on it just to make sure I stay safe. And there's really no reason to get close to the basket on this. A 4 is all I need. And here we go. Just need to get this close to get a par, but the wind and rain is really starting to pick up here. But the zone doesn't care. We get it up towards the basket. I'm running up there to try to putt as quickly as possible. And we tap in 2 pars in a row on 2 of the hardest holes on this course in some of the worst conditions I've ever played in. I don't know why I couldn't do it in the calm conditions, but at least I did it now. So now we're moving on to my Nemesis hole, hole 10. I took a 9 on this yesterday and a double bogey the day before, so I'm just laying up today. I don't want any part of that creek, and I slip on the tee pad again, but luckily this is still a great shot right up the middle. So now I'm grabbing my Emperor, and all I have to do is just get it left of that cart path way up there, and I should have an easy par. But, oh, this is getting close. I need to get a skip, and I don't get a skip, and I roll onto the cart path. For the 3rd day in a row, I'm out of bounds on this hole. And as I'm walking up to my lie, I just want to thank all of you that are still watching at this point, and let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more of my tournaments posted on here with my commentary, or if you have any suggestions for how I can make these videos better, please let me know. But back to my round. Now I'm about 380 feet to the basket. I really want to save this bogey. Throwing my Emperor yet again, and this one feels great right out of my hand. And boom, I land it right by the basket. It looks like a great shot from here, but we get up there, and unfortunately it skipped about 45 feet away. So now I have another circle 2 putt right into a raging headwind. But I'm going to make this one, I have a feeling. Oh, that headwind just didn't let that putt drop, so I'm tapping in another double bogey, and I went +9 on this hole the past 3 days. Brutal. But we have a chance here on hole 11 to make up a stroke. It's only a 300-foot tunnel shot, throwing my hex, and I hit my line perfectly, but I don't quite get it to flip up enough. We do land it inside circle 2 though. Normally I would run this putt, but in these horrible conditions, I want no part of a big comebacker. So I'm just laying this one up here and gonna tap in an easy par and move on to the next hole. And now the wind is the worst it's been all day. One of my card mates threw his most overstable driver here and turned it over out of bounds, so I'm trying not to do the same thing. But I do the same thing. There's no escaping that wind. That's my most overstable Emperor, but it didn't look like it. So now I'm throwing my 3rd shot from way back here, throwing a Firebird, and expecting it to fade. But with this wind, it just never faded, and I threw it about 100 feet long of the basket. So this is my look for bogey. 100 feet, in raging winds. Let's go! What a putt! This was the best putt I've probably ever done in my life. Just insane. I don't even care that I bogeyed. It's just so cool to make something like that in a tournament. As you can see, I'm pretty happy.
The best thing I've done all tournament.
Now hole 13 is essentially the same hole we just played, but this time I'm throwing my Draco. It's my most overstable disc in my bag, but that wind just throws it straight up, and actually we made it over the branch and landed inbounds. The only thing I didn't want to do is go OB, so I'm happy with this. So I'm throwing my Draco here again. Just need to get it close to the basket, and I juice it. Literally the exact same thing I did on last hole, and we're about 100 feet away. Can I make the exact same putt back to back? Not quite. So we're tapping in another bogey, and we're at +5 now, but at least the conditions are starting to clear up. The rain is gone, so that gives me an opportunity to get some birdies. So hole 14, the 1,000-foot par 5. I had a really good shot at birdie yesterday, so I need to do the same thing. Throwing strike here, but I just bring it way too inside. It looks really bad, but somehow we actually made it through, and we're on the back side of all those bushes, so I have a look at the fairway. Birdie is out of the question, but I can still get a par for sure. Just throwing my pyro out in the open, and yeah, that's about all I could do from there. I'm about 650 feet from the basket at this point, so I'm trying to get as much distance as I can while staying safe and not going out of bounds to the right side. Just throwing a hyzer with my Emperor, and yeah, that's a great shot. Get just under 400 feet out of it. So now I'm 250 feet from the basket, and I'm trying to throw it in to get a crazy birdie with my pyro. And that's looking good, but I'm just a little bit short. End up parking it for the par though, and I'll take that after my pretty bad drive. And walking up to the island hole, I'm really not feeling nervous at all. In the first 3 rounds, I've made the island twice, so I'm feeling pretty good about my chances right now. Throwing that same unconventional eagle forehand, get a great amount of anhyzer on it, and I know that's going to be inside the island for a 3rd time in 4 days. So here we go. I've got a birdie putt from the edge of the circle. Bam, back to 4 over par. I was worried about this hole for nothing. Now hole 16, I laced this shot yesterday, so hopefully we can do that again to stay on the birdie train. Get a little bit too much ante on it, but there is a back door if I miss the trees. Oh man, missing that tree would have been parked. But now we have to scramble, and it's kind of an awkward shape that I have to put this disc on, and it kind of gets away from me a little bit too far to the right, but we're in the circle, and I feel confident that we can make this putt. Still can't believe I missed that one. I thought that right to left wind was going to push it up a little bit, but unfortunately we take a dumb bogey here. But that's alright, we only have 2 holes left in my first pro tournament, and I want to finish strong. Hole 17, again, I don't have the power to get there for the birdie, so this is just a layup play for my par. And I wasn't sure if that made it inbounds, but we get the green flag. So this is all I have left, just an easy zone approach. Get it close to the basket, a little bit farther than I want to be. But I'm really focused up here. I don't want to miss 2 putts in a row, and we don't. We capitalize and take the par. Moving on to the last hole of the tournament. I really want to finish this one strong. I know I can get the birdie here. I had a perfect drive here yesterday, so I'm trying to replicate that with my swirly S-Blend Emperor. Don't quite get it as far, but that is still a great drive, and we will have a birdie opportunity from there. As you can see, the Mando straight in front of me. I need to throw this one straight and get a little finish to the left, so I make the final Mando. And great skip. And we'll have a good look from there to finish with a birdie. I ranged this at 260 feet, so I'm feeling really confident. I know I can get this close. I'm throwing my Firebird, and the second I release it, I'm questioning, why the hell did I throw a Firebird here? It's only 260 feet. I should have thrown a Pyro. And we faded off way too much to the right. I really, really want to run this putt. But after that roll away yesterday, I just want to lay up and take my par. So I finished the round at +5, and I end up in 31st place out of 36 people. I moved up a couple spots, and I actually had the hot round of the day for a while. At first it was 988 rated, but that rating went down when the top players started coming in. because they got to start right as the bad conditions were ending, and they got to play all the hard holes in a lot calmer conditions than we did. But it was still a great round for me. I'm happy to finish off my first MPO tournament strong. I know I didn't complete my goals, I didn't get the cash, and I didn't beat Jay Millie. Hopefully next tournament will go a lot better, but this is just something for me to build off of. See you guys in the next video. Peace!